Hey guys, welcome to Gear Up, and this is Aaron, and welcome to the car review for the BMW i3. Man, you've gotten a whole lot taller. You definitely have. So you ready? Let's check it out together. Let's go. This is the 2017 BMW i3 with range extender, or otherwise known as the Rex. Now look at this thing. It's sexy and styling, especially in this Protonic blue. A huge thanks to East Bay BMW who hooked me up with this car for a few days. I'll post a link below to the dealership in the description. But look at it. This car, you either love it or you don't, but I think it is great. Looks like a concept car. It looks different from every other EV out there. BMW did a great job with this. Let's take a closer look at this car now. I'm gonna focus on the ergonomics, the design, the electronics, just how you use it every day and how easy it is to live with an EV. So let's check it out. Now let's talk about the exterior, guys. This car is so polarizing, but I love it for it. It starts conversations and it's interesting. Oh man, this blue just blows my mind. I love it. Now let me talk a little bit about the design. You see this little up swoop in this bottom skirts, and it's mimicked right here in the windows and then again, my fingers, and then again in the windshield to keep the car long and low and slim. Even though it's a really tall car, great idea. The trunk is made of all glass, two pieces, one at the top, and then the brake light area is also made of glass. The glass house is pretty decent, allowing for a pretty expansive view from within the car. When you open up the all-glass trunk lid, you'll be greeted with a 9.2 cubic feet space with all seats up and 36.9 cubic feet with all seats down. That's pretty decent for a size. When you look up, you have two handles for you to close the trunk. The sizable trunk compartment has tons of cargo tie downs, and you lift the flap here, you'll find the range extender motor. It's a little tiny scooter motor, 0.6cc with 38 horsepower. You can check or fill up the engine oil here, but not much more. And here you can find the tie downs for strapping down your cargo, and the LED light, and an accessory port. Pretty standard fare, but well equipped nonetheless. And since I was back here, I thought I'll check out the little tiny exhaust for the little tiny motor, tucked right under here. Pretty cool. The i3 has a little tiny baby frunk. It's not waterproof, so be careful what you store in here. Another interesting quirk is that this car has 20-inch wheels with skinny motorcycle tires, but traction is not a problem apparently. So allow me to geek out here for a second. Check out this carbon fiber tub that this car has. Look at this. Oh mama. I mean, it's exposed like a McLaren or Ferrari. This thing was developed with Boeing, so I think that's pretty cool that they left it for you to see. Did you know that this car has scissor doors? Oh yeah, scissor doors, like a Mazda RX-8. It's easy to open, easy to close. From the outside, you have to do the back first and do the front. Now I'm going to show you a video of my son trying to exit.
Coolest car ever.
How are you going to come out?
Yeah, I already figured it out. Suicide door.
Suicide doors.
Watch this.
The handling is pretty decent. I don't know what other people are saying, that it's not that great, not becoming a Beamer, but I can hustle it through the corners. The ESP and the stability won't kick in. Like in this corner, I'm driving in the wet and it's doing it without a fuss. I don't see stability control coming up at all. And that was a flat corner, not a positive camber or anything like that to aid me in my turn, but accelerating out of corners. I don't feel any traction stuff. Now look at that bounce. I'm going over speed bumps. Look at that. So the carbon fiber tub is really helpful here. It just gives it so much rigidity and stiffness. So the only weakness you can sense is coming from the suspension components, the tires and all that, all those things. But the chassis stiffness is just great. The ride is really respectable for its size. It jostles a little bit, but once you get up to speed, it's totally okay. The quietness in here is exemplary. Nothing to shout about, but in this day and age where a lot of cars are quiet, but I'll take what I can get. It's nice to have an electric car like this to drive around. You don't have to worry about engine whine, gear whine. The only thing that comes up is tires, especially on highway speeds. But other than that, it's a great little machine. I'm impressed. Another speed bump. See, that's nothing there. Another thing I want to talk about is braking. Braking is a weak point of this car. The narrowness of the tires show themselves after a while, especially in the wet like this. You really have to plan ahead, and if you freak out sometimes when you have to do emergency stops. But I like driving in the rain. I like driving on slippery roads to test cars. So here we're going downhill. The car, I can feel it slip. And one thing cool about the i3, it's rear wheel drive. You don't see many electric cars aside from Tesla, Model S and 3 using rear wheel drive, but this car does it. And I can go around corners really fast. Oh yeah, catching up with cars in the instant torque and power is addictive. And it's so convenient. Everyone else seems so much slower. Combustion engine cars seem so much slower in comparison. Gonna pull into the church parking lot real quick here and do a really small turn around. I can do this in the parking lot. Look at this. The turning circle on this thing is ridiculous. I'm not doing drifts here. This is ridiculous. I'm doing this in a normal parking lot, and it's within the space of both cars. Look at this. I'm just going around and around. You can probably see it in the mirror windows outside, and I'm just going around and around. I'm not doing anything. There's a garbage can in front of me on the other side, and I'm still not hitting it. I've gone around many times. This car has a tighter turn radius than my minivan. That's pretty impressive. Now we're gonna go back down the hill. All right, let's do a downhill run. Hopefully it's nice and quiet. I saw some cars pass by. Engine braking is helpful. The car is skittish a little bit, but traction control is not kicking in. I'm doing 60. I'm accelerating out of the area. Wow, that's good. And instant torque is awesome. Having almost instant engine braking is great because you can modulate your speed and entry speed and exit speed. It's awesome. Sorry about all that noise. It's all my gear in the back rolling around. That's how hard this car can corner. I drove my family last night. All three of us loaded up, and the speed, you could tell the acceleration dropped out a little bit, obviously with extra weight, but the acceleration was still pretty addictive. Everyone liked it. My wife, Kimberly, she was like, meh. I mean, she's not a car person, but we tested it up and down the street. I let her drive it up and down the street, and she was like, this will be a great car for the city. For bumper-to-bumper traffic, where you don't have to worry about the clutch. You drive with one pedal. There is a brake pedal, but just like hybrid and mild hybrid and electric cars of the ilk, you really just need to rely on engine braking. Engine braking in start-stop traffic is amazing. Once you get used to it, you can coast to a stop sign like what I'm doing, like a normal car, with just engine braking. I'm just lifting off the throttle, and this car activates the brake lights as you do so. So cars behind you know you're slowing down and coming to a stop. Now you do have to use the brake pedal when you come to certain stop signs or certain roads. Depending on the angle, you could creep a little bit. Another tight corner. It's really predictable. If you start sliding, it is so predictable nonetheless. I'm always having fun with this car. It is not Beamer level communicative. The steering is kind of vague sometimes, but it is direct. I can do this. Look at this. And I love the whine of the electric motor. It goes. I'm not sure if you can pick it up on the microphones. This is a crummy. Yes, I admit I have a crummy microphone. I'm cheap. And it's unassuming, this car. Most people look at it as like, it's a tiny little electric car. On freeways going up and down hills and corners. Now it's not a Canyon Carver by any means, but it holds its own. I would say this car fits really well in city driving, which is what it was designed for, and it's amazing at being a city driver. But then throw in some gentle S-curves and such, this thing feels right at home. Its Beamer DNA comes right into play. Again, I'm going around the corner. Oh yes! There, I just managed to get the traction control to come in, but that was me being careless. I like this car. Oh yes! It's so slippery today. It just started drizzling again. So in general, this car drives great. It rides great. Braking is only a weak part of it. So this is something I just noticed on my last couple of drives, last night and today. And a lot of reviewers talk about how skittish this car is on the highway. Like you need constant steering adjustment and all that stuff. But I'm driving on the freeway. I've tested it yesterday as well. And I can take my hands off and the car will stay stable. You could feel it while you're holding on to it that it's moving around, but it's only because the steering is so communicative. And because of that communication, you feel like, the connectiveness, you feel like it's twitching a lot. So yes, that's the downside of it, but really it's a stable car. So I had that feeling while I was driving, and I let my hands go off the steering and the car felt stable. There was no steering wobble. There was no shifting of lane, there was no lane shift or anything like that. So what I can tell is just a feeling in the steering. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. Alright guys, let's check out this interior together. All you need is the key fob on your body and we can get in the car. It's nice and slim, just keep in your pocket. You just have to approach the car, touch your door handle with 2 or more fingers to lock it. To unlock it, you just pull the handle and it opens. Sliding in, we're greeted with an interior that's just as outrageous as the exterior. Check it out. I mean, look at this. Looks like a Scandinavian furniture house, where everything is simple and elegant but expensive looking. You know what? BMW has managed to make hard touch points cool. Everything you see, like in an economy car, hard touch points are looked down upon, But they've managed to make like the canaf and the combination of wood and slightly stiff pleather surfaces and plastics and such cool. The way it's utilized is stylistically appropriate and it's interesting and it's not boring, and that's what makes a difference between all these things and a cheap car. And this is awesome. I love it. Initially, I didn't really like how small the center gauge cluster was, but the more I drove it, I felt like it was befitting of a city car. Nice little display, just the right amount of information, with your right and left indicator lights above and some warning lamps below. Very basic stuff, just like your motorcycle gauge cluster. Navigation is not up to the same level as Waze or Google Maps or anything like that, but it can pull traffic information. It can also pull in information about charging points. See, if you zoom out, you can see charging areas. If you zoom out a little bit further, you can even look at the range of your car based on what mode you set it as. It could be Eco Pro or Comfort. If you can swing it, I suggest you get the tech package. The tech package gets you an 8.8-inch infotainment screen. Now for 2018, you get I think a 10.2-inch screen, which allows you to split the screen into 3 sections rather than the current 2. Let's talk about the infotainment as a whole. It has 8 categories: multimedia, radio, telephone, navigation, contacts, connected drive, vehicle info, and settings. This car has Bluetooth pairing, but you don't have CarPlay or Android Auto because those 2 services require a touchscreen, which this car does not have, just so you know. What this car has, however, is a slick way of entering your addresses or searches via the iDrive touchpad. You enter letters or numbers by gently caressing or stroking the touch surface. It even understands basic gestures like delete, which is pretty sweet. Hey, they rhyme. Did you know you can preheat or pre-cool your car, say before you leave your house or leave your work every day? You can go into settings and set up to 3 departure times, so when you get back in your car temperature will be perfect. How cool is that, man? In terms of sound quality, this car comes with Harman and Kardon speakers. Not that great, but once you set it up and tune it, it does get a little bit better, but I wouldn't say it's an audiophile's dream. Coming down to the center console, we have the front cup holder, we have the iDrive with preset buttons around it. And then we have the drive modes. We have the Eco Pro and the Comfort modes, and Eco Pro is split up into Eco Pro and Eco Pro Plus. The latter is the most drive efficient, but it limits your speed and it kills your climate control to save battery. Right behind that is a Park Assist button. Press it to turn it on and press it again to turn it off. The i3 can also park itself. This is part of the tech package. It works best in the city when you want to parallel park. I tried it in a suburban area and it failed 50% of the time. It works by using the ultrasonic sensors in the bumpers to measure spaces between parking spots. And once it finds you an empty spot, you just have to follow the prompts to activate the self-park feature. Among all the safety features this car has, it also has BMW's pedestrian warning with city brake activation system. It works using the camera found behind the rearview mirror, and if it picks up a pedestrian or a kid crossing the street up to 37 miles per hour, it will activate the brakes for you and give out a really loud audible warning. Now since we're up here, look at the mirror real quick. The mirror is standard Beamer design of old. This thing flashes when the alarm is on, and here are your garage controls, 1, 2, 3. I like this little button right here. Let me see if we can get a good shot of this. This is the typical SOS button, but this one is flipped down like an airplane. Then you press this for an emergency so you don't accidentally press it. I love that part. All lights in here are LEDs. Of course, it goes along with the whole ethos of the car. LED headlights, LED running lights, LED tail lights, LED courtesy lights everywhere. You can change the color of the interior lights and the mood lights in the car. There's only 2 colors, there's white and red, but it's more than enough. Now we have a standard armrest here, kind of soft, kind of firm at the same time, which is okay for long distance. It has a top tier storage, and then you can lift it up with another lever here. And here's the other cup holder, and it's removable. This thing comes off. Let's see if we can get that off. And then you can slot it to the front right here. Right down here is where your USB drive is, your auxiliary input is, and a cigarette lighter output. Okay, let's see how much space this car has. Can I sit behind myself if I adjusted the seat to my height? I'm 5'9" and the average world height is 5'9", so can I fit back there? Pretty comfortable. I have a couple of inches of knee space. There's very little feet room under the seats though. So basically 2 passengers can sit at the back in relative comfort as long as in town. Headroom is pretty decent, and you have 2 cup holders, you have plenty of space, nice seating, very comfortable, not bad at all. Kids have plenty of space in the back seat, like my son here is demonstrating. Front-facing baby seats will fit well, but I doubt you can fit a rear-facing without eating into front passenger space. Here's a closer look of the back seat. It's very nice sitting surfaces, relatively comfortable, not cramped at all because of the high ceiling. In fact, the glass house is very open and inviting. The back headrest can be popped up like so, and you press the button to flip them back down. And as I mentioned before, there are 2 sets of ISO fixes for car seats. Okay, see this seat rail adjuster? I find this a weird design choice because look at how far it protrudes out from the seat. This applies to the driver's side as well as the passenger side. So buyers beware, you might have something chomping on your calves pretty soon. When you're done driving at the end of the day, it's time to charge. You just pop open the lid and juice up. The car supports Type 2 CCS slow charging or rapid charging. Here I plugged in the car into my house outlet and the lights pulse according to charging status. It's like charging your cell phone. So what are my final impressions of the car? I'm driving back to the dealership as we speak, and after spending time with it for a couple of days, it has left a lasting impression on me. Electric cars are starting to grow on me. I think we're heading in the right direction to hopefully coexist with combustion engine. I think there's a place for each kind of car. Electric cars are really great for the city, and combustion engine cars are still the best for long distance driving and just general enjoyment. So I hope they coexist, not replace one over the other. But this car, I think, is amazing. It has a lot of things going for it. It's really special. It is not unlike your typical Bolt or Leaf. I guess you get what you pay for. And while it's a lot of money, here in California, sorry about the navigation, here in California, you get $10,000 in incentives. That's including federal and state incentives for owning electric cars. So this car, base price is around $48K, and you can get it for $38K. You save about, according to the window sticker, $3,000 something in gas over 5 years. Maintenance cost is less because you have a little tiny motor at the back, which really doesn't need much, doesn't use much. It's a 0.6cc, 38 horsepower motor, scooter motor. It's good to know that our future generation, like my son, he's 9, and his generation will be prolific users of electric cars. As you could tell, my son was really excited to ride in this car, and I hope he gets to experience things greater than Tesla, what Tesla is doing and what BMW is doing. The future looks bright, guys. Or shall I say electrifying. Kill me. I just realized my camera is blocking my side view mirror. Anyways, I'm glad you stayed through this review. This was my first car review, and I admit it's horrible. It's a whole lot more work than I thought. Shooting by yourself is nuts, and in the rain, nutter, or nutsier. And I hope that this improves. It's hard to get proper clips. You have to take all kinds of angle shots. I mean, it's just a pain. But I love doing it. I hope you enjoyed watching it. It was the first crappy car video, and it's probably the worst car review you've ever seen in your life. So, with that being said, thumbs up. I hope you thumbs up if you like it. Thumbs down if you think babies should be wearing hemp or K'NEF diapers. And that was bad. Just to subscribe and support my channel for more videos. And I really enjoy doing this for you guys, and I hope you come back. Peace.